Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy second recording on this Thursday. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. Got a word for you. Tap in. Happy second recording, guys. So I want to read this email to you guys, and then I'm going to give you my opinion, all caps, opinion towards the end. It's from a young lady, and I quote, "Hey Kizzy, I found your channel through a friend of mine. She sent me one of your link about 3 months ago, and immediately I knew I had to subscribe. I love listening to you. You are a friend in my head. I love how you make I love how you make uniqueness sounds to be a great thing because all of my life being very unique, I've always felt like it was in a negative light. In fact, I felt that way in school as well as in my own household. I've always been the different child, but everyone made me an outcast and a black sheep. My father left my mother when I was very young, and my mother in turn developed an addiction. So I've never experienced a healthy family unit. I have four other siblings, and we really all don't get along. Well, I should say they don't get along with me. I definitely am a chosen one, but I feel like I've been neglected. But most importantly, I feel like I have been deprived and that I've never got to experience what healthy love is, what a healthy family function is. And I feel like, as you would say, I'm going to go... I'm laughing because I don't even, like, I know I say some of these things, but when I say it, I guess it don't hit me until you guys repeat it. And I'm just like, Kizzy, did you really say that? Well, like you say, I guess I'm just going to sit on the rocking chair until I meet Jesus and never experience what what a healthy family unit is. I have a desire to get married, but I fear that I'm going to screw it up because I've never experienced a healthy dynamic. So I wanted to ask your opinion. Thank you for any advice you have. Okay, sis, first of all, I didn't mean to, I'm laughing at, because again, I say things like when I'm speaking, and I guess it just doesn't penetrate in me because I'm speaking. But when you guys hit me back with something that I said, I don't know why it tickles me when I say things like you. I mean, what are we going to do? Just sit in your rocking chair till Jesus come on. Okay, so first thing first is, I'm very, very glad that I'm able to help you see that your uniqueness is a beautiful thing. It truly is. And I know most people haven't experienced that, especially when you're younger, right? Because, when you're younger, you're just trying to fit in. You're trying to fit in trying to fit in where you belong. So you just don't belong anywhere. So that does develop a sense of just, but I don't know. I guess because I was never like rejected. You know how some people are different and they're kind of like shunned, almost like a negative black sheep, like no one likes you in the group, that type of thing. I was always still very popular and included. I just didn't feel like I belonged, but no one like just X'd me out. But I do know that there are some people who were literally X'd out. Like, don't even come sit at the table with us. You're so different, right? That's not my experience. And I truly feel bad for those of you who have experienced that, right? But again, truth of the matter is being so different and being so unique is a beautiful, beautiful quality. It truly, truly is. God literally have you set apart for something different. He sees something so special in you that he chose you to walk such a difficult path. He knows that you're strong enough to walk the path of being unique. So he can send you to his other unique individuals. All right, sis, let's talk about your family issues when you were younger. Okay, so if your father left your mother, then obviously I'm sure you've experienced some trauma, right? Rejection, abandonment. And then also sometimes when a parent has been hurt, the father or the mother, they kind of instill certain things in their children without even knowing it, right? So it's almost like let's just say she has the angry mother syndrome. So it's don't ever trust in men. All men are dogs. You're going to get hurt. Men are just going to do this to you and they're just going to hurt you. Okay, you have a group of mothers who've done that. And then you have fathers. You have single fathers who the mother may have just been, an addict or something like that and left the father. Right? Because there's this misconception that only men leaves home. I think maybe two people where the mother left the good father. And these men raised their children. So, and then the father in turn, if not careful, can have the son thinking that all women are just no good and all women are just out for money and all women are just out to just abandon great men. And so what happens? We then in turn develop all these different areas and triggers from the things that we were either taught or even just saw in childhood, etc. So you said you and your siblings don't get along. Well, listen, I mean, this is life. And then you say you have four more. So how many households where five siblings all get along, right? And I'm sure there are many households like that, but you have households where like it may be three who are like best friends and then two are an outcast, or it might be two who are really, really close. And then, the others are outcasts, or maybe one who came along a lot later. And then they feel like they don't even belong because the other siblings are already grown or maybe almost grown and out the house. So then they feel isolated and rejected. And so you see how it's life. It's life. We all have something. And this is why I always speak on this quote unquote fairy tale of a life. It's all a lie. The American dream, the perfect marriage, the perfect house, the perfect children, the picket fence, the dog in the backyard. It's all a lie. There's nothing that's perfect. Every family dynamic have their issues. You may not know about some of them, or some of them may not be as crazy as your family per se. I'm just speaking in general, right? They may not be as crazy, but we all have something. I've been around people who I would deem them to be very, very healthy, happy marriage and upbringing, but they still have their stuff. They still have their stuff one way or another. The marriage can be great, but they have a crazy child, right? Or they can have some great children, but the husband is an alcoholic. Everybody have their stuff. But we have to know this and stop allowing society to sell us this dream of nonsense, because when God does present us with blessings, because we don't see it the way that we thought it should be, what happens? We're ready to bounce. Like, there's too much work here. There's too much work. I'm out. I don't have time to sit here and help you to learn how to communicate. Your daddy and your mama should have taught you that. I ain't got time for that, right? We're ready to be out because we're thinking that people should be perfect and that this marriage and this family unit should be perfect. And again, granted, now you got some very, very healthy family units out here. It may be nowhere near as common as toxic families, but they exist. They exist. But here's the key. I know people, and I'm not saying this is you, I really do know people who have that victim mindset. Right? And see, with a victim mindset, you can never really go and get what's yours because you're stuck. You're stuck in the what ifs. It's almost like, well, okay, now you're, I don't know, I'm just throwing some things out here. You're 84 years old. I'm always exaggerating. You're 84 years old, but you're still swimming in, well, my father left my mother and my life is just over. My father left my mother and they didn't give me a fair chance, right? These things are real. Your feelings are valid. The point I'm making is, but how do we move past that? Are you just going to be 84 and sit in your rocking chair and wait on Jesus to come and then present you this perfect, not even perfect, but well, yeah, if you're going with Jesus to heaven, it'll be perfect. But my point is, are you just going to wait on Jesus until you try to create that for yourself? Or are you going to make a conscious decision to heal, right? Because see, you making the decision to heal from the childhood trauma, from the rejections, from the abuse, from the neglect of your sibling, you making a conscious decision to put the work in and heal, regardless of how difficult that journey will be for you. You're then giving God something to work with. So God can see it as, well, I definitely didn't meant for you to go through all this, but since you didn't experience this in childhood, I'm going to give you this in adulthood. You didn't see your parents being in a healthy marriage, right? So if you work with me by making sure that you make a conscious decision to heal, I'm going to give you a husband, and then I'm going to show you how to love him properly. I'm going to really show you through example by other people I'm going to place into your life or through the leading of the Holy Spirit. I'm going to show you how a marriage unit should be. Not perfect, still issues, but solid. I'm going to teach you how to keep other people out of your marriage. Not calling your mother or calling your father or calling your friends and your sisters. I'm going to really show you how a family unit is supposed to be. But we got to get you to the point where you first acknowledge that you're not going to be a victim. So that's my past. So what do? So ask God to guide you and lead you. He may pull you apart. Again, sometimes it's hard to heal in the very environments that traumatize you. So this is why sometimes you will feel that God requires you to or calls you to relocate or even call you, because relocating is not always the answer, right? Because healing is within. But there's different ways that God may pull you apart and set you apart. A strife may even happen. The family's already crazy. Everybody's already crazy. So a big strife can happen where you don't even know how it happened. In fact, it was not even your fault, right? It could have been somebody else's fault in the family. But something happened and everybody turned on you. And it doesn't even make sense. Like, how in the world everybody turned on me or see me as the person who, started the feud, and it was that person, but everybody saw me. God is not a God of confusion, but listen, when God wants to get his purpose done, he will get his purpose done, point blank, period. So if that requires your little heart to break and you feel like everybody neglected you, well, they neglected you from the beginning. They didn't like you in childhood. See, all that stuff is toxic bonds. Toxic bonds and toxic empathy. What were we taught? Blood is thicker than water, no matter how toxic they are. Blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. So we're raised and conditioned to feel that you can be in a family that's so toxic. You can be in a family where people want you dead. But yet conditioning tells you blood is thicker than water. So that conditioning and your own loyalty factor feels like, well, blood is thicker than water. You only get one family. Who says we only get one family? Who says we only get one family? Because blood don't always make you family. You can have a whole family that's so loyal and so loving and got your back that doesn't even share the same blood. The conditioning have us tied. So because we're conditioned to think that blood is thicker than water, you can have people who are detriment to your own mental health, your own well-being, and you're still trying to stick in there because, quote unquote, blood is thicker than water, even though that same blood wants your blood. So we have to change our mindsets and we have to change our perspective. It's a process. You have to let your heart break. Remember, the people, and I'm not saying like you need to like leave your family. I'm speaking in general here because I don't know. God may want you to stay with your family and work things out. Who knows? Every situation is different. That's why each walk is an individual walk. God will lead you and tell you exactly what you need to do. Some people aren't strong enough to leave their families and go off and heal. So then, yes, something may happen where it separates it. Where some people may not be as traumatized and they can sit in the same household and maybe heal. Everybody's different. But you can't base your healing on someone else's. The Holy Spirit will have to guide you there. So I'm speaking in general. Ask God to give you the very things that you felt you missed out on. I think you said you're only 37. You're 37. You're 37. Never married, don't have children. You have a whole life ahead of you. Again, society have us making ourselves old. Well, I'm 37, so I guess I'm going to just go ahead and sit in this rocking chair and meet Jesus. You got people out here who are 87 traveling on cruises with their spouse. May have just been married for, I saw maybe 2 days ago. Maybe 2 days. I think she said she was 71, but a good 71. That's that jazzy 71. Was married for 6 months. And honey, she's in her crushing honeymoon stage. I don't know if she is like remarried and maybe she could be she was a widow, or if she just I don't know. We didn't get too involved in the conversation, but my point is this lady is in her 70s and has been married for 6 months, and she is living her life. See, the whole victim mindset will have you missing out on your whole life. This lady is 71, or 70 something. Let's just say she chose to if she went through a divorce or her husband passed away and she just sat there and did absolutely nothing. She just waiting for God to come get her, how much time is passing you by? So let's say you only have 30 years left on earth. Well, you're 37. Let's say you only have 50 years left on earth, right? Enjoy that second half of your life to the fullest. Because when you start moving in a certain direction, God will make sure you got double and triple for the things you've been through. So create the life that you want. That's how I live. Society will not tell me how I should look at society. People are miserable. Look at society. They're blowing their brains out. Don't allow society to tell you how you should live. If you don't want to get married and you're fine and waiting until you're 75 because you want to do it the right way, please wait till you're 75 so you can finally experience what a true happy marriage is, versus being miserable all of your life because you decided to marry at 21 because society says you had, and once you have a child, you got to stick in there and just, y'all don't like each other. He sleeps in the bathroom. You sleeps downstairs. Well, I hope he don't sleep in the bathroom, but he sleeps in the bathroom. Y'all hate each other and you're miserable. We're not speaking about when relationships hit a rough patch in a certain season. We're talking about you're miserable the entire marriage. All because society says it'll look bad if you married twice and you leave all because you had this $1 million wedding and now you got to face these same people who are happy in their marriage, but you're miserable. All because society says you will be an old maid, even though your life is so fulfilled without what society says. If you want what society says, by all means, go get it. Go purchase you a house. Go to school. Go marry just because you want to be married by 21 or whatever, 25. Go have a child just because society, if that's what you want to do, then do it. But don't do it because society says that's what you have to do. Create the life you want for yourself. Marriage, children, all that stuff is beautiful, but that should be an addition, not a completion. If you're looking for people to complete you, you will look until Jesus come home. The same family that rejected you, they didn't complete you. If anybody should complete you, blood should complete you, right? But people can't complete us. Everybody's fighting their own demons. Everybody's trying to figure this thing out called life. You got to create the life that makes you fulfilled. If that's marriage, fine. If that's traveling the world with a backpack and a guitar, fine. If that's being career oriented only and you don't, that's fine. Walking in purpose and calling, ding, 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 raise my hand. That's what really fulfills me. Purpose may not fulfill you. I don't know. Purpose fulfills me. So anything that's added to me is an addition. It's not a completion. An addition. But we have to create the lives we want and not be in victim mode. Victim mode would set us back so far. I remember having a conversation with a young lady, and she was saying one of the biggest things that like she's still regretting, I think she's like in her 40s, is that she never had a relationship with her mother. Like she knows her mother loves her, but it was like never that child-mother bond, right? And so, you know, I mean, that's neglect to some form, right? Because a child needs to feel bonded. But I was explaining to her, most times when you see these parents who are not affectionate, their parents were not affectionate to them. So it can go two ways. Either that's going to cause you not to be affectionate to your child, or it's going to cause you to be over affectionate to your child. So just because you go one way doesn't mean the other sibling is going to go the other. Like we all are just different in different ways for different things, etc., etc. But my point is, why are you still sitting in here in your 40s, like almost still living in the fact that I didn't have the mother who's okay, that happened, right? And it caused lots of triggers in different areas in your life because it's neglect. All right, that happened. But where do we go from here? Are we going to start a healing process, right? Heal in that area. And then strive to get that type of love from someone else or give it to someone else. Meaning, okay, let me word what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so you're in your 40s. So you can't go back to Action Mother to be the mother that the little girl needed, right? Okay. All you can do now is develop a great friendship with your mother. But when you're swimming in, I needed you when I was 5. I needed you when I was 9. That can never be. You're no longer 5 or 9, right? So if your focus is right there, you can never heal. You have to acknowledge that, boom, cap it, and move on. Well, now instead, I'm going to take that energy. See, it's really about taking that hurt and that pain and that energy and that neglect, whatever you're feeling, and then applying it to your future. God may send you a mother-in-law who loves on you, right? The way that you wanted to be loved when you were younger. God may give you 50,000 children. Just because now you got all that love in you to give that you never experienced, now you got many people to give it to. God may give you a whole orphanage because these children need the same type of love you never experienced. So you see how it's about taking that pain, that trauma, whatever your thing is, it's about taking it and finding a way to project it into something positive. If not, you will spend your life swimming in something that your parent didn't do when you was 2. Got to move past it. Easier said than done, but you got to start a process. So that same love that you were seeking that your father didn't give you because he walked out and left your mother for whatever reason, because as adults, we're now learning that we weren't always told the truth, right? Regardless of what mother could have done, father still shouldn't leave his children. But then your mother could tell you something like, well, your father left because he didn't want you, right? You heard that all your life. So now you're dealing with abandonment issues, self-esteem issues. My father didn't want me. I wasn't good enough. So now you feel good enough for nobody, and all along your father left because your mom cheated. So you see how we can be carrying all type of different triggers and different this and different traumas, and we really don't even know the truth. So your father wasn't there to give you that type of love from from a main standpoint, right? Which leaves girls yearning for love, things like that. Now God will give you a whole husband who will love you from your head to your toenails, who will love you to the point that you're just like, please, can I have a break? No, I love you. I can't leave you. Like that type of obsessive, well, you don't know obsessive love, but you get my point, I'm sure, right? Where that love will just overtake you. So he's giving you, it will never probably be in the father form again, but you have to accept that. And now receive the love properly from your husband. But see, this is why healing is important. Because if you don't heal and take the time to process yourself, when your husband comes to love on you like that, because you still got the wounds, because your father wasn't there, you're going to reject him. So the same thing that you're asking for and you're craving for, you're going to reject it because you haven't healed. We got to stop swimming in the past. We have to acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge it hurts. We have to acknowledge that, okay, some people out here got siblings who are like best friends. I will never have that. But God gave me a best friend, or God gave me a co-worker, and we're like sisters, right? You just have to take what you didn't have and see how God have blessed you in other areas, and then heal from that, and then allow God to send you double for your trouble. I hope this helps. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.